quick, and they may even just peel off, but tell all the moms it cleans up easy. As far as clothing, some clothing, you want to try and be a little bit careful, so don't, if you're watching your team, don't have kids slapping it on, you know, you got to reel them back. But as I was saying, is a nice flat brush or a cat tongue type of brush, if you use two colors that blend well together, you don't have to get real artsy, but they can't be two colors from the opposite end of the color wheel, because then it turns to black or gray. But what I found, this is my friend from Warren Community showed me, Barb Butcher, is she does IVs for people's living rooms and stuff, is if you take and load one half of the brush and then turn it over and then try and load the other, it doesn't have to be perfect. Bob Rossi, and this is a little tree, this little friend over here. And then if by just, without going too much thought, I'm going to make a heart, okay? And you go like this. You notice how those colors just blended automatic? And people go, how did you do that? I didn't. The brush just kind of, and you know, you can do the same on this side. And if you want, just kind of go in a little bit, but I'd like to leave a little bit of the blended color in there. And then, you know, there's a heart. And if it was red, maybe with a little bit of a orange on the side, it would make it look like a little highlight. And then if you had some white or some kind of a real light color, you know, that's where you'd actually, you probably don't even have to clean the brush. But if you load it up and then put a little kind of a boop, you know, little shine mark. So, and then if you were doing a cross, and I always say you want to see the glory of the cross, I take my yellow and I kind of do a couple of shine marks around it. So you can take a real simple thing like there's the cross over there, and I say, of course, we got to have the glory shining around. That's the cross that Jesus died for us on. But you always want to, as often as you can, try and wash the brush. You don't even need to have a towel. You see it just cleaned up real easy. But that's one example of just blending the colors. You probably don't even have to use two brushes, like even that dragonfly that's there. Let me do him, because that's one the little boys, you always wonder what do the boys want, because you can't do any, see him down at the bottom there? Okay. And just by taking maybe a couple of different colors, and I got my green, and I'm just going to space apart my little dots. Don't give it too much thought, because if you spend a lot of time, it's the mistakes that end up making it, you know, you go over it, you get more mistakes. But then I just alternate. I might do a little bit of purple. Okay. Maybe, and it's too wet. I should have a towel, actually. And then go like that. Now that's just the body of the dragonfly, and it's cool even if it blends together. And then I always do the wings a lighter color. And you always start with the fatter side, wherever you want it to taper in skinnier, that's where you want to end the brush, because you lift up the brush. So here's a wing. Don't go outward, because then your pointier end would be down at the end. So you go like that, right? And then if you had a tiny little detail brush, you know, you could put antennas or a couple of dots with black for eyes. Another technique I always learned early in art, don't use black as often as you might think. You want to outline. It dirties everything. So use it real limited. Even the bumblebee, if I had a dark blue, I'd probably use that. But a bumblebee's another good one for the boys. Hi. The snail's one for the boys, and even cupcakes. But the girls pretty much stick with the flowers. And I'll tell you, the flower is probably the easiest one. And if you want to recommend one to the girls, is there a flower on that board or on the other?
There's one here.
You got one there? Perfect. I also had one tucked away at the end there.
Yep.
And what's cool is, again, just like the dragonfly wings, if you start on the outside and work your way in, and see, I even blended a couple of colors. That's not bad. They might like the fact that it's kind of got some uniqueness to it. And if it's a big person's cheek, you can use a fatter brush. If it's a real itty-bitty face, you want to start with a littler brush. But like you were saying with your daughter earlier, most kids are just excited to have some paint on their face. You can get a hold of those, but I know cotton balls were too messy.
But the sponges, they have a good price on those, like the ones you use for makeup.
Oh,
like actual makeup ones.
This was the flower. Yeah. So just a little sweet there.
It came out good.
Exactly, right.
One last one here would be for like a kitty cat or a dog or a lion. And if somebody says,
I was going to say, can you show how you do that little lion thing? That would be cool.
Yeah.
I think Andrea will volunteer to have her face painted.
Ah, you want on your face?
Just like on the floor.
Okay. Now with a lion,
So bad.
I should put you on the spot. I know.
Not so bad for a kid.
I like to mix a little yellow with the brown to make it just a little bit more lion-y color. Oh, I got green in there, but cool again about acrylics, it's very forgiving.
He might be sick.
Maybe he's a little sick.
He's a sick lion. He's homesick.
Oh, what did Bob Rossi say? Yeah, he's just going to have to stay inside a few days here. He's not feeling too well. So we go this over the top for the what do they call it? Forehead, yeah, and the mane.
The mane, yes, the
And
forehead.
then on their chin, the kids love when you do some wispies on their chin, and then maybe even off the side of the cheek a little bit. But what really makes it an animal, besides all these little hairy marks, is going to be the jowls, which is just above the lip. And I guess if I had white, I would use that, but you're going to have to use your imagination. Just under the nose, above the lip, you do a half moon there, a half moon there, right? If you want to color it in a little bit. That's pretty much it there. But what really makes it kick is when you do the nose and you tell them to tilt up their head, and any size brush, because their little noses are just real quick and easy to do. You just darken the bottom part of it. But that almost makes a triangle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have a brush that's got really good detail, this one's kind of fat, so it's going to look messy. I don't have a... Bob Rossi does that. Whisks that brush. And then you've got a couple of little... I miss him. Didn't he die of cancer, the poor guy?
I'm not really
Yeah,
sure.
he was a big smoker, they said. And then you do the couple of wispies. And that's pretty much it. I mean, if you wanted to do a wispy over the eye, you could do that. But I wouldn't do too much more than that. So if it's a kitty cat, you could use white, or you say you want to be a pink kitty cat. Yeah, that's what I want. You'd be amazed how often you lead them through, and the little girl, that's what I want. And then their friend, I want the same thing.
Sweet, next 5. All the same.
Right, and then that makes it easy, because now you got it down to a science.
Exactly.
But it is cool to keep everything
Line them up
clean.
like a, an assembly line.
Yeah.
And we've had some little gangs of kids. We all want to be the same thing, And if you do get a weird request, I guess as long as it's not demonic or evil, like I've even drawn a skeleton, but no blood, no zombie eyes falling out. That one kid wanted a yin and yang. I don't get into the religion behind it, but half of his face, one comma on the other side, the other color. But you're not doing all
But we're
faces.
not doing full faces,
Thank
so
you.
those won't be
It'd
an
be on the
option. You
cheek.
just say, I'm really
Yeah.
sorry, but today we're not doing full faces.
Right.
We can't.
And with some of the moms, especially from the area we're pulling from here, they may stand in line. I want one too. And you gotta, where are you gonna paint it? If their face, I don't know. I've done on their arm, So you got to be appropriate. And I don't think we're gonna have any problem with guys and stuff like that there. But yeah, take care of the moms too, because it's the best part of the whole face painting
I was
ministry.
planning to have one if it's
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely
Okay,
it is. Let those be your first people you practice on at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
Have all your workers and let's say, hey, let's break a few of these out.
Yeah.
You don't want to dump them all out too early because they'll start drying.
Mhm.
But have just a couple of select
Sure.
plates and say, let's do each other's, And Katie's girls are always good for volunteering for that. The sunshine is my favoriteest one, and I don't know if I have any more plates here, so maybe I can't show it. But
Can you do it on the other side of one?
Yeah, if it's dry enough, I think I can. Good one. Now, instead of using the orange, I'm going to use, like I said before, is you take the brush and half load it on one side with your main color. This may not be a good idea because I'm going to put purple with it. It's going to turn greenish. But if I just put a little bit on there, and then I can, let's see. Yeah, I'm not really happy with that, but I do an outline of where the glasses are going to be because I always want my sunshine to be a cool guy. Okay. And then with these swirlies, you can go like this. You notice how you got the two colors in there?
I
So
like
if it was
that.
orange and yellow?
And yellow would be cool.
Yeah, I would choose the orange and the yellow. And then, again, limit yourself with the black because it gets everything dirty. But the sun is pretty easy to just do those sunglasses, Just leave this blank area of where you want the sunglasses and then end it with just maybe a red smile. And they're happy with him. That's in the book too, so there's a couple of examples of that. Snail's pretty easy. The snail is just starting on one side and coming all the way around and make a worm at the bottom.
You know that flower that you did last year, the past
Yeah.
few years, the one over the eye that's real popular?
Oh yeah, was it like that one, only with a curved?
Yeah, it kind of went like up here, or maybe it went.
Maybe
you kinda,
I did. Yeah, I embellished. I'm kind
Yeah.
of doing the pixie fairy thing when I do those because everybody likes that kind of half the face
Right.
Yeah.
wispy.
Yeah.
So if you can incorporate a flower into that, that would almost be like they're a fairy or something. Red. My mom always likes me to try and do a rose. They never really look like roses to me. But you'd be surprised when you just try and of course pray before you're out there. It's amazing how the Lord might bring something out of that brush.
So maybe perhaps we should encourage all the people that are volunteering practice
Practice a little bit, I would
at
definitely
home before
say.
they come up.
Yeah. If I was doing a rose. Yeah, and again, they don't have to put a whole lot of time into the prep. I think it might help, though, on the day of. But over the eye, if I have this rose going like this and down a cheek, you know, and let's say this was where their eye was, then you could even do some sparkly fairy dust thingy. I don't know, if you wanted to have whatever, you can do squigglies. And then we usually buy glitter, and I think I'm out of it. But what's cool about the glitter is with just a little bit of water, even from there, and Q-tip, you just kind of tap it on there in a few places. You talk about just making the finishing touch.
Yes, yeah, that's
Even
what I
if
was
it was a
thinking.
mess up, you cover it with the glitter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the flowers all kind of jumbled.
Take
You want some
something
glitter
away,
on there? Yeah, and you show them quickly with the mirror, not too long. You know, you get a quick glance. I love it. Good. Okay, next. And really, unless they complain, which 1 out of 100 I think will come back and say, "Can you redo? My kid hates it." That's fine. We don't argue ever. We take a wipey. They get the baby wipes, and they're good for your hands too. My clown costume's covered with paint because I'm too ADD to go find a rag, so I'll use the side of my sleeve or even my hand at the end of the day. It looks really funky, but I'm
So
covered.
maybe perhaps asking everyone to bring an apron they don't mind getting
There you go.
dirty, that they can wipe their hands on or whatever as they go.
Well, we kind of go with the design, the Summerfest shirt design this year.
Oh yeah, is it kind of camo?
Yeah, but we don't want to. We don't ruin those.
Those are funny.
Yeah, but yeah, I think maybe all the volunteers should just pick up, like, you can get them at, Michael's
use
or
a
whatever,
plastic
whatever.
Put a hole.
Besides the cupcakes, the what do you call it? Ice cream cone has always been a real favorite, and that's just real easy with, a cone, of course, down on the bottom. And if you have some black and you wanted to put a couple of little waffle marks in it, not going crazy, but just quick cone triangle, and then ask them, what flavor do you want it? You want it to be Superman? Well, that's blue. You want it to be red or pink with a cherry red on top. And just if you do a little bit of this with a little bit, boop, and that's a cone. And I always say, don't go over it as much as you want, because sometimes leaving a little spot makes it look like a shine mark. And I'd even put, just like on the cupcake, a cherry on top of the cone. And that makes a kid real happy. And then the other thing they'll ask is, can you do his second one? And what I always have to tell everybody is say, we got to get back in the line, because we want to make sure everybody at least has one first. If we've still got time, you can come back and get 5. You got to get back in line.
Right.
And you'll have parents who'll beg you, well, we have to leave in a half an hour, can't you do? And that's always the toughest thing, but I smile until my teeth bleed and go, we got to be for the kids' sake. It's for the kids that haven't had a chance. And especially when they close down the lines now, that's where my mercy gift kicks in, and I never listen to Kate. But I'm gonna suggest.
But we do. That was recorded. But that's where, when we put someone at the end of the line that we really need you guys to
Shut it down.
to just finish what was in line and not to take any more, because it's important that everybody's at the front of that
You're
stage
right.
when we have that message. So
That's the most
that
important
nobody
thing.
misses that.
Thank you.
You're
But
welcome.
don't make the clown the bad guy. That's all I'm saying.
I
'Cause
don't.
if the
I
guy
don't
in
even recognize the
The
clown today.
line does his job, then we're good. So that was really about it. I don't know.